Good morning, everyone, from a very rainy Dunrovin Ranch in Lolo, Montana. We're delighted to have you here on the Monday after Easter. I hope everybody had a delightful Easter. It was beautiful here, so I know that everybody here in the Missoula Valley really enjoyed their Easter outing. I actually am very happy to see the rain today, and I think that James will be talking about why I am so happy to see the rain today a little bit later. But I'll let him tell the story about why this is perfect timing for a rainy day. Well, it is spring, of course. Easter always harkens the birth of little animals, and among those little animals, some of which you are seeing right here in Dunrovin, are calves. It's a very important time of year for ranchers, and I know some of you have been watching the calves that our neighbor rancher has. And they're out there cavorting and running around. Well, of course, at Brandon's Hash Knife Ranch, it is also calving season, and I know that he has prepared some videos to help you explain how it goes at the Hash Knife and to bring us along. So with that, I'll ask James to get the tape rolling and enjoy, and afterwards I'll be back with Brandon himself. Thank you.
Hey, hello from the Hash Knife. Well, it's that time of year where it's prep time for maternity gals, I should call them. And we've got this little bit of calf jugs and a head catch here in the barn that we can use under some lights at night and be able to help a young heifer or a cow that's in trouble go ahead and pull a calf and help them out and save their life and save the life of the calf. And it's all about, being able to make some profit at the end of the year. So I want it to be known, I've got to scrape this all out, clean it up. It's not a big job, but it needs to be noted that I'm not afraid of cleaning a floor. So if you've ever heard that I don't pull my weight, I am good at cooking and cleaning. So let's give it a shot here. All right, just that quick, we're almost done, about half of it. So we'll put down some fresh bedding here. I like to use these wood chips. They're easy to clean, easy to move. They break down a whole lot easier than straw does. Insulation factor, I think, is probably better with straw, but that's what you see this propane tank over here for. I can hook a fired heater, a space heater to that, and really heat this whole end up here with about 50,000, 75,000 BTUs, depending on the day and how the need is. And then, of course, if you followed us last year, we've got that hot box over there for bringing calves in and literally sticking them inside that box. Let's take a look over here. Show that to you. For those that haven't seen it. Yeah, I got a couple of pieces of things stored in here. I got that training chart for the horses. I got a little wagonette to pull. But here's that box and a sled. I can pull the calf in if we need to. Put a little distance between me and the calf, and that cow will pull right behind that. But here's our box that we can put some calves in. It's got a little heater here, and gets them nice and dry. And put them in there, let them bake for a little bit, and that spruces them right up. So I'll finish this other side, and we'll spread out some fresh bedding, and we'll be ready for a calf, and hope we don't need to use this thing. All right, stay tuned. All right, half done, half to go. All right. So, roll this out into the corral where I'm watching these heifers, first time heifers. And I'm just going to create another big bed for them if they want to get out of the mud. Maybe. Heifers being heifers, you can have the best bed in the world. And they'll lay down and have that calf in a crick. Try to kill it. They're just ignorant. So you give what you can and hope they use it. All right, we'll finish up with this grate. And we won't have much more to dig out of here. One more and we got it whipped. Okay, now to make it nice and inviting. Wood shavings. Okay. That is so nice and inviting. I might want to spend the night out here. All right. Lay down on worse. All right. Well, this is some more of the mundane. Now you will show you what some of the technical stuff that we have to gather. Let's hope we don't have to use it, but if I didn't think we would, I wouldn't be doing this. Well, as promised, I've got a bunch of technical stuff here, if you call it technical. All goes well. I've got a calf tagging kit here we put together. I've used this for a number of years, and comes in pretty handy. I've got a bander. I can put a squeeze with some small, like this, little of these little rubbers you put on that, goes around the calf scrotum, and testicles will fall off after a few months, and then he's a steer instead of a bull. I got a cleaned OB strap that I can wrap around a calf's legs if they have to pull them up inside the cow. I got a tagger, and we've got color-coded tags that we use for heifers and steers, and pen to write on them. And we've got blue and pink as well for steers and heifers. I've got some betadine solution so we can swab a navel down, and if they're calving this dirty corral. And I always got some Vetricin. That's always a handy thing to have. Let's see what else we have in here. Lots more of these rubbers. That's good and bad, I guess, depending on your perspective. And then on the top of this, I got a bunch of, I got some syringes, needles, case. Rarely do we have a problem, but if we do, I want to be prepared for it. And then we got the backs of the tags. Pink, yellow, blue, and there's an occasional purple one in here because we got some leftover purple tags. So I'll put those on my mom's stuff since she likes the color purple. Those will be for the heifers. So we got that. Got our tagging kit. And we'll have a clipboard made up with each cow. And we'll be able to check off what she had and the day she had it and make any special notes about her, the calf. And then we got just a vet kit here that's full of stuff. In case I have to bring a cow in, I always like to clean up, use some betadine wash. I just like to have a solution made up in there. When you buy your OB lube by the half gallon or the gallon, it's cheaper, but you go through a lot of it. You don't want to spare it. And then you got sleeves that come clear up your shoulder, and then just a bunch more tags and tagging equipment. That's really all there is in here. Out in the by the head catch, I've got a come along and chain and stuff to be able to get a hold of a calf's leg with this OB strap, and then pull in. And as that cow's given some contractions, then you can help her pull and bring that calf out or get her in there. And if you got a leg backwards or a head backwards or around or something, then you can go inside of her and straighten it out and then help her go ahead and deliver that calf. But there's not a lot to it. It's low tech, but it should be, I guess you'd say, high knowledge. Yeah, a lot of experience to do it. Kaylin needs a little bit more experience, but our son Braden has got some experience, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody quite as intuitive on pulling a calf as he is with that cow. He's an EMT, and he's been through some childbirth stuff, and you know what? Honestly, it's a lot like that. I delivered both of our boys, and it's very similar to that. You work with that cow and not against her, help her, and then you can deliver a healthy, hopefully a live calf. All right, well, here's basically what we got for this, and I think we are ready to go. Bring on these calves. Now I got to go to a calving meeting that got scheduled in the morning. All right, stay tuned. Well, good morning, ladies. Thank you very much for attending another annual meeting before calving season starts. Last year, many of you were sent to the prom, and some of you had to stay back. We understand the disappointment, the heartbreak of not being able to go, but guess what, girls? This is your year. You get to now go, and there's a whole new bunch of little ones. You two in particular, well, actually you four, they're all grouped together. A couple of the mean girls, you have to stay, you get to watch, but you get to learn. And there are some lessons to be learned. Number 40, get back here. You need to hear this most of all. Yes, you, with the calf that's not the right color. That is not who we matched you up with to go to the prom. You do not change partners in the middle of the dance. No. Look at the size of that thing. They will lie to you. They will tell you anything they can to get them what they want, shall we speak. So anyway, it was not a meaningful relationship, and I think we can now prove that. Ladies, the rest of you, let's let that sink in a little bit, and let's try to learn the lesson that obviously number 40 didn't. And you, number 152, over there, yes, you, dirty, dirty girl, calf's a little early, shame on you, but we'll love it just like we love the other one over there. We'll take care of it, assimilate it into the family. Some of you that are groaning a little bit, I hear you, yes, yes, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Your time will come. It's okay. So remember, not just your OB, I'm also your matchmaker. So the rest of you had better have red calves. Understand? Or there will be some serious repercussions this fall. Well, they're going to be anyway, but you don't know it yet. All right, ladies, I hope this has been informative. I hope we're all in agreement. There's no snow on the ground. We'll hopefully stay that way. Warm weather, day calving. You know the routine, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's go out, make it a great calving season.
Brandon, that was terrific. I just love your annual meeting with the girls.
You know, this is serious business, and it's sometimes, it seems like you're always fighting an uphill battle, but you've got to find the humor in things. You just have to, and it's not just in this business. It's in everything we do. And I think we've lost that. And we need to just lighten up around each other and just have fun,
You are always good at that, Brendan. You lighten up in any circumstance, and it makes life go a whole lot better. I got a lot of comments and questions here. Okay.
Oh, good.
First of all, we're looking for a ranch hand, and the way you cleaned up that area seems to me you'd be perfect for the job.
Well, yeah, and so I'm doing that because I can't ask my wife to do it because she would, and then I'd feel bad about having her slave labor. I can't work my boys too hard because they go get other jobs and don't come back. So you know what? It falls right on me.
I know the problem very well. At any rate, you really quickened your step there. You really cleaned it up fast. And I wanted to comment about straw versus wood chips. One of the things is I noticed you were using bags of wood chips, and I don't know if this has happened to you, but for me, I used to be able to get semi-truckloads of wood chips and have them delivered. But all of the logging operations in the Bitterroot Valley have gone under. Right. And the last one was the Porterbuilt pole operation. And now it is darn hard to find wood chips except through suppliers in bags like that, which is more expensive, quite a bit more expensive.
A lot more expensive. Those, to give you a general cost, each one of those bags cost almost $6.
Yeah.
So when I throw out 6 of those, you're looking 35, 40, or 35 bucks of money that is just literally being thrown on the ground. Yeah. But that's the cost of doing business. If you can keep a calf halfway clean and dry and starting to be warmed, that's the important part. So I could grab a straw bale for an exorbitant amount of money for straw, which is, $3-4 a bale, and probably use 2 bales to do that. But it doesn't break down as well, which is good, and it's got a better insulation factor. However, it doesn't break down as well. So when you pull it out of there, now you've got a corral full of straw, that just is there, and it's a pain. The best way to get rid of it then is, put it in a manure pile and hopefully disperse it out across the field or burn it. And so I've gone to the wood chips. Thank goodness we don't have that many foot traffic incidents through those cabin jugs. If we get 8 or 10 a year, that's a lot. So I'll run through 3 or 4 cows, and depending on how long I leave them in there, I may have a cow and a calf in there for a day or two. And then, or sometimes it's transient. I'll have a cow and a calf in there for a few hours, and everything's good. I kick them out. So it depends on how clean it is, and cleanliness is so important to abate infection, which you wouldn't think you would have much infection, but you sure can. And so that's why we try to keep it as clean as we can.
Absolutely. And I along the line of wood chips versus straw, I actually put wood chips in my arena at times because it holds moisture and it reduces the dust in the arena and it will break down over time. So you get to keep replenishing it. It has a lot of multiple uses, other than the straw. The straw, unless you compost it, you're really stuck with it because there's no other real good use for it.
That's right. And I don't mind the wood chips because I can take those out, and I put them in a pile out in the corral. And if I have a cow and a calf that I've left in the corral and not have in the jugs, they will bed down in that still. So it isn't a complete and total waste, but it is good. And you're right. It does hold moisture. It will break down. And, I'm completely fine with that. I mean, there's some multiple use for it. It's expensive, but, it does the job.
Right. So one of the things, a comment that you made that I thought was really interesting to follow up on is that you can have the best laid place for a cow to go to have birth, and that cow will choose the least optimal place. And I'm curious because, your cows have calves every year. And I assume that they learn quickly that after the first or second time that they've raised a calf, they begin to understand the best way to do it. Is that a fair assumption?
There's a lot of personality driven in that. Part of it is maturity. We don't have our cows or heifers raise a calf until they're coming 3 years old. So the ones that are having their first calf right now are coming 3 or almost 3 years older. They were calved about this time of year 3 years ago. Most people will do that a year sooner, and because of that, the mind of that heifer, and heifers are notorious for this when they're young like that, is, to me, they're still kind of babies themselves. A yearling heifer or 2-year-old heifer will buck and play like a dang calf, and so that maturity is just not there in some cases. And once they have that calf, and I think they have no idea what's going on. And I think most women, when they have their first child, is very similar, even though that we can reason and we know what's going on. You really don't know what to expect until it's happening to you. And I'm basing this on conversations with my wife. And she said, and I asked her about that. I said, what do you think these cows do? Do you think they really know they're pregnant? Do you think they know, a month out that they've got a baby? And she goes, oh yeah, there's no way they don't know. She said, the heifers don't, because this is completely new to them. They have no idea. Something's there. And some of them are very maternal. They'll take their calf, they nurture it, they get it up, they suck it, let that calf suck, and take care of it. Others will look at it and they'll just literally leave. There's like, I don't know what this is. And they're idiots sometimes. You've got open water. They will lay down next to the water. And the water is a draw for all of us. All species, I think, is water is a super huge draw. And they will lay next to that water. They'll have a calf right in the water and drown it. And the calf doesn't stand a chance. So I think it's a maturity issue. Now, after that first year, yeah, I think there's something to that, because those cows will go off by themselves and for some security. And I've got a couple of upcoming videos that we've been taking videos like crazy here. So we've got some extra stuff that we can talk about later. But I do think that once they've had a calf or two, they are much wiser and of course much more protective of the calf. Now, the difference between a first-time 3-year-old heifer having a calf versus a first-time 2-year-old heifer is an immense difference. I almost never have to have a extra work or worry about a 3-year-old heifer taking her calf. They almost always will take them. And you'll see some that are kind of they're pretty protective of them, and that instinct kicks in and they know exactly what to do. I have less issues with having to pull a calf. Not that it doesn't happen, because sometimes you have to in older cows too. But those things do happen. With a young cow, a 2-year-old heifer the first time, I don't think she's not quite mature. Her bone structure is not quite built, and I mean, even though she can biologically have a calf, it's much easier if she's a year older and that bone structure is larger. It's like the difference between a 15-year-old girl having a baby and a 20-year-old girl or woman having a baby. That bone structure is changed, it's matured, and I think that makes a huge difference. Not that it can't be done, but if that, putting those in human terms, I think is very real.
Well, I have to comment, I'm very cerebral. So when I was about to have Jake, I read every book there was, and I thought I knew what was coming, and I had no idea.
Yeah. Lisa was the same way. She was reading every book, and there's one out there, and I see it, and I think about those times. It's What to Expect When You're Expecting was a big one, and she just read through that, and then she kept up on it every night. She was reading a little bit again in it, and she said, yeah, you don't really, it's everybody's perspective is a tiny bit different. It's largely the same, but it's,
but you may know in your mind what's going to happen, but your body doesn't know what's going to happen. And I also remember remarking to Sterling when we were about to leave the hospital, I said, aren't some alarm bells going to go off as we walk out the door? Parents who don't know what they're doing about to leave hospital.
those were going off in the scared little 10-year-old that lives in here. I can tell you that. I'm not old enough for this.
I really thought somebody was going to call me out as an incompetent mother for sure.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. So you also made something about a comment about watching. And, I have always contended that young horses can learn by watching older horses, that they see interactions with humans. I remember, in fact, when we brought Canner here, who, was a rescue horse, he was unaccustomed to people. And so we just sort of left him alone, but he got to watch. He was up front and center where he got to watch everybody else being handled by people and seeing that there was no problem. So does any of that kind of learning go on with respect to calving? Do cattle learn from one another by watching?
I said that mostly in jest because I would hope that would, but I really don't think so. I mean, cows are not terribly smart. They're smart when you don't want them to be, and they're dumber in a post when you need them to think. So I really don't think there's much to that. No, and honestly, I keep these young heifers separated anyway, just for the ease of managing cows with calves, and then I push them into another pasture, which is again another upcoming video. So I don't think that they really learn that much. And with regard to horses, they can watch something, and I think that they will see and respond to the energy of what's going on in the moment. If you had someone who was just beating a horse and there was a horrible fight and they were seeing that and close to it, I think they could feel that. And probably have a response of, ooh, I really kind of need to stay away from this. But if you were to try to teach a horse to, for instance, even just get in the saddle for the first time, put a saddle on them, there's not much value in that, because it's very personalized and it's physical in the moment and happening to them, not to someone else. So I think in a very large way there may be something to it, but as far as some very intricate or even solid learning that you would want to have, no, I don't think you could depend on that. Now, if you had a horse standing next to another horse and you were doing something to the one, a little bit of that may bleed off. Say, if you were sacking a horse, meaning just rubbing a blanket or a tarp on them like we've done with Oggy, and you have that other horse right next to them, then a little bit of that is going to bleed off, but only because it's an experience that they're having in that moment right there. It doesn't mean it's happening to the other horse. If that makes sense.
No, I agree. I think that the watching can help dictate a larger kind of orientation, feeling of calmness or of excitement, but not any sort of specific skill for sure.
You're brilliant. I agree with you 100%.
Well, that's good. Okay, we had a comment by one of our members. They wanted to know if you do anything differently for the male calves as opposed to the female calves. What happens to the two different genders as calves?
Good question. And we'll probably have a video on that. It's very tough. I haven't been able to do one because I haven't had anybody with me to be able to do that per se. But we do have. I could probably do that. I think Lisa took a picture of us banding Ears calf. And Ears is the kind of a favorite of everybody who follows us. But we will put an ear tag in the calves. There's usually pink or blue. Geez, I can't imagine who picked those colors, for little bull calves and for heifer calves. And then we will sometimes put them in the ear of a heifer, or usually it's a heifer. We will have a yellow tag, and that just demarcates whether or not we may or may not keep that animal as a replacement heifer. It's to consider. The pinks are all considered because we know the genetics of the cows, and we've had some good offspring from them as replacements. So we will mark them ahead of time so that they're very easily identified. So the heifer gets that in the pasture. The bull gets a blue tag and we put the matching number to the cow's tag on them so we can match up numbers, which, believe it or not, you'd be surprised. Sometimes you got to go hunt a calf or find a cow and try to match them back up. And usually you don't have to. The cow has probably left that calf somewhere on purpose so she can have a spa day. and go get some water and some grass somewhere else. And they babysit for each other. I'll get some video of that sometimes too later on. But the bull calves get the same ear tag, and then I put an elastic, or it's not elastic, it's a rubber band, very small, real heavy duty rubber band on the bulls. There's a spreader, and I'll show it when we do the video. We put this on, open it up so it expands this rubber band, and then I literally pull the testicles through that rubber band and then loosen it, make sure both testicles are through there, and so that constricts the blood flow, so that we can then, it's basically castrating them, only it's not, it's using a rubber band to do that, to constrict the flow, and so that the testicles will, in a couple of months, they will fall off. And to us, it's much more humane. A calf, the bull will kick his belly a little bit, it'll hurt, and I shouldn't say uncomfortable because I can only imagine, but you really don't notice much of an issue, especially the younger they are. We used to castrate, literally go ahead and castrate them with a knife at birth, and had incredibly good luck with that, with no or very reduced amounts of infection. Believe it or not, even though that calf is small and on the ground a lot, much better for the calf and less stressful than when doing it at branding time. So that's all we're doing, is just basically emasculating the bull to make him steer. And there's a couple of complications. Ears calf actually found one testicle down. Well, I can't do that with only one, and sometimes those testicles don't drop. So we'll wait till branding time, and when that happens, then I'll go ahead and put a band on him at that time. So once in a while, you'll have an abnormality happen like that, but we've been doing this for years, and it's much less reduced stress, easier on those animals, less infection, less complications. So that's essentially what we're doing.
Another comment, people have said that, I'm going to read it to you. I have watched the little segment of Brandon giving the girls the pep talk a dozen times. I find it wildly amusing. Brandon has a way with words. Indeed you do, Brandon. And I really want to thank you for taking us into your life. You've used humor and brought us into, the daily life of your ranch, and it's just been wonderful to do this with you, and I want to thank you for continuing to hold us by the hand and take us through your life.
Well, it's absolutely our pleasure. There's so many things that we do that I don't think is valuable or is worthy of videoing, and then I'll have people ask about it. I was like, geez, I should have done that. So I'm sorry if I, don't have some of the more mundane things, but I'll try to be better about that. And it's really good for us because we like to share what we do. We have a dying heritage, and it saddens me deeply to be at the forefront of the death of that heritage. And I'm trying desperately for people to understand it, to know it, so that I can pass this on to our sons and grandchildren, and hopefully long after I'm dead, and you and I are looking down from hopefully a higher viewpoint, then we can say, you know what, maybe we did some good here.
Yeah. Well, you certainly brought a lot of the intricacies and complexities of ranch life into our understanding. I mean, it just covers the whole gamut. I think people were amazed that you had delivered your own children, but that's a common thing too in ranch families, because you're isolated, number one, and because biological life is life of a ranch. I mean, people take that as just part and parcel of what's going on at a ranch. They're not frightened by it. They're not put off by it. It's just, life, death, birth, that's all part of the process. And there's an intimacy with life, I think, in a ranch situation that people who don't live close to nature and close to that kind of cycle, tend to feel alienated from at some point. And I think that's one of the beauties of ranch life.
I think you're exactly right, and that carries on. I mean, you grow up with life and death and the wonders of it, and there is a wonder to death as well. There's a lot of unknown that we don't know because none of us have experienced it yet. But when my dad was dying, we sat and talked about it. It was just like, I'm going to miss you, Dad. And he goes, yeah. What do I need to know? I mean, and you talk about death as if it's commonplace, because it is. It's not something that it certainly doesn't reduce the pain of losing someone, not at all. But if you know it's going to happen, you know it's going to happen for yourself. I mean, there's any time here that I could, get crushed by a cow or drugged by a horse. I mean, it can happen at any time. You don't know, and you come to terms with that. The other day, I was tagging a calf that we had marked. Braden, our youngest son, had marked as what he calls a mean mom, and she's on the tagging sheet. And this cow is honky, and really made me wary, and to the point where we went out in a side by side, and Lisa was with me. And I said, "You stay in. You stay in here." And the next thing I know, she's out there with a rope in her hand, going to slap this cow on the head because she was blowing snot all over me because I'm standing over her calf. And so, I'm yelling at Lisa, "Get your butt back in that vehicle. I don't need two of us killed. One of us is enough." So, and I wasn't joking, but it's cautionary, and you take risks. And could I wait until later? And at branding time, when we separate, or give that cow 4 or 5 days to kind of acclimate to that calf, I could, but then I couldn't catch the calf. So, and then I don't know what cow that this calf goes to. So there's one thing with the meeting I wanted to, I was hoping somebody would ask about. And that was that calf, that one that had the wrong colored calf. Yeah. You build a herd because you have a certain breed characteristic that you want. And so this calf happens to have a black Angus, or a cow happens to have a black Angus calf, because we have a neighbor that was leasing some ground next to us that would not fix a fence, would not help fix a fence. And it's our responsibility to keep the bulls contained from December to June. Well, it was after June, so now it's up to me to keep their cattle out, even though they're bulls, because we have an open range type of a law here. So this calf I've got now bred to oh my God, it's a horrible looking bull. They leased their bulls, and this bull had 4 brands on it, and it went through this fence very diligently, delicately, and placed its feet. I mean, it's a fence crawler. So I was fighting with this bull all summer. Well, he got to one of these cows. The problem with it is he got to a cow that has had a set of twins for us in the past that she got very good genetics. We kept both of those heifers out of her that year, and we have kept every calf that is a heifer out of her because of the way she's built, her demeanor. I mean, she is just a phenomenal cow. So now I've got a heifer out of her that I can't keep this year. So that heifer goes to town as a slaughter heifer, and as a single, buyers don't want them. They want loads of 25, 30, 50, 100 so they can fill up a truck to go to a feedlot. So you lose out by not having a replacement heifer. You lose by not having, or you only having one because of the cost. So there's some real life complications or implications to that. But what do you do? You just kind of go, well, crap. So.
Yeah, at some point, I do think it would be fun to talk about the laws related to shepherding animals, whether you fence in or fence out, and open range, what all those terms mean. Yeah. As a closing question, I'd like to ask you, do you ever breed your own bulls?
Good, very, very good question. We do not. What I do is buy bulls from the outside. I go to sales, and we choose bulls based on their phenotype. We, just like we did with the cows. And this year we purchased bulls. I'd never done this before over the internet. And I didn't do it over the internet. I went and looked at the bulls first, but I had a conflict on that day of the sale, and I really liked these bulls. I'd been looking at them for a number of years, and flew over, spent the day. Braden and I went through them, and we listed what we wanted. And then they had this listed as a sale. Sat down at the computer at the house, and I bought 3 bulls through this sale, but I'd already looked at them. I want to bring outside bloodlines and outside genetics into our herd, but I want to be very, very careful about those. And I look at bloodlines to make sure that we're not too close on similar bloodlines or, very close at all. And then there's some you want to stay away from them that may have some genetic issues that you may see or are prone to, say, bad feet or something that's, kind of wiggy. You don't want anything that's kind of crazy. So we do that from the outside, pick very, very carefully, but we do not sell raise bulls, and we don't raise them for sale for somebody else because most people don't want a what we call just a grade bull. Even though all of our cows are registerable or have been from registered stock, we don't register them for resale. So that's a whole entirely different type of operation, and frankly, I don't have time for it because I'm also training horses. So it's very, very time consuming, and it's not an easy way to go. So people who have registered cattle and sell registered bulls are my hat's off to them, because it's a lot of work involved with it and tracking all of the different types of expected progeny differences, or EPDs is what we call them in the industry. So yeah, it's not something we do. Yeah. We'll maybe keep something like this, and I know this sounds, pardon me, I know this sounds old and callous, but the steer, or he's a little bull calf right now that's out of ears, we may butcher him. I mean, yeah, there's no sentimentality there for that offspring, because if I cannot do an adequate job and I can't get a second testicle to come down out of him, he's essentially a bull. I can't keep him, but there's an opportunity there for in 18 months to be able to butcher an animal that will put on good growth and be fit for us to eat as a family.
Yeah. At some point, I'd like to know more about raising and selling bulls. So there's a future episode for sure. And I'm going to put a bug in James's ear and your ear to someday talk to us about flying. James owes me a flight up and down the Bitterroot River, and I'm going to collect one of these days. And you're both pilots, and you're both good pilots, and it would be fun to talk to you both about flying. So someday in the distant future, let's talk about flying.
Well, I didn't realize James was a pilot. So if you get us talking about airplanes, pilots being pilots, we may spend the rest of the day. You haven't got enough broadband width on this thing to carry what we have to talk about.
It'll be fun. I'll enjoy it for sure. Well, so the final question was, in summarizing, your boy calves all go to market just like yes. They all go to market. Yeah.
Steers all go to market, and then the heifers that we do not keep as replacements, they also go to market.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you again for a wonderful episode. I could sit and talk with you all day long, and I have done so at a number of times in our lives.
We have. We've went well into the night, and I think we have tried to diminish either the wine or spirit industry. So, yeah, or the pipes. Yeah, we've stuck on a pipe or a cigar as well. So
that's great. All right. I think Ashley is on and ready for you with Oggy. Are you there,
Outstanding. Ashley? I think she might be muted.
Okay. Yeah, we can't hear her.
I'm here.
Hey, Ashley, how are you doing?
Hello, good. We are soggy out here. Soggy Oggy.
Well, you know what? I'm hoping that comes to us, because it's pretty dang dry over here, and we need your moisture. I think you guys are as bad as the North Dakotans, seeding our clouds and taking advantage of the weather over there. But well, what have you got for us? What are you and Oggy going to do?
So, last week I got him backed up to it, and I texted you on Friday about how that all went.
Yes.
I had tried standing the shafts up on some supports that were like water containers.
Yeah.
Just to get him not to be able to step over it. Well, anytime he touched it with his foot, they just went flying. So it spooked him with the water container. It spooked him with the shaft. And then the rest of Friday, I couldn't get him anywhere near this thing. But now we're standing in it. So this morning, I've just been circling him around it. I just pulled him up to it. I've gotten him to stand here, and I've just been lifting the shafts up and down. So really the hardest part is getting him just to back up straight to it. Yeah. And I've been trying to smack him on the butt, smack him on the chest, everything. that every tool that you've given me to try and get him to stand here, and he just will not. So I'm just trying to like rack my brain to see what else we can do, but he doesn't seem to respond to all of the hitting and smacking and everything. But right. If I take it really slow, step by step, be kind of gentle with him, then he's good. He's standing here. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can get him backed up to it and then stand there. So, because we did it like once or twice, and I probably should have stopped at that point on Friday, but then he spooked. So I was like, oh, well, let's try it again. Let's get him unspooked from it, which of course didn't happen.
Yeah, that was the right thing to do. Getting as many repetitions as possible, within reasonableness. You don't want to spend all day doing it, but if you can get 3, 4, 5, 6 really good behavioral wins with him and get him to do what you want, you've done it. You've gotten there. Yeah. But if you have a spook like what he did for you, you have got to continue. You're absolutely right. You couldn't quit. You can't stop. You've got to continue to at least get one. So that
that's what I did. I continued until I could just get him at least halfway back into here, just backed up, and I was like, okay, that's it. We're done. Because it turned into like an hour-long fight with me trying to get him just even near this thing. Yep. When finally I was able to just back him up, stand there. Okay, we're good. Get him untacked and throw him back out in the field. So it was very frustrating on Friday.
I have made this statement not only to you but to many people teaching clinics or whatever. It's kind of one of my go-tos about frustration levels as a trainer, and that I've stated, and I think I've stated on here that I will take as much as I can without blowing myself up and losing my temper, hold it together, and then when I go into the house, I will grasp the refrigerator with each hand and promptly bang my head against it. So for those that are watching, I got a text from Ashley the other day after she'd worked with him, and she says, I now don't understand why you go and you punch the refrigerator. It's like, okay, you heard most of it. My hands are much too valuable for that. It's my head that I'll bang in the refrigerator. So yeah, you're there, and he's difficult because of his mind is, I want to do what I want to do. He's a little spoiled that way. So what we'll do, your idea of having those barrels or containers or whatever they were to hold that up is a great idea, because what you can now do is set them up outside of the shafts and walk him through them, walk him between them, and then continually get closer and closer after you've got him going forward and walking through them. Then put them closer and closer together so that when he goes through them, they do fall over and he doesn't spook.
Yeah. So I would like to work with something a little more sturdy in the meantime, just to get him understanding the concept of, okay, I want you to back up to this. I want you to stand here. And so I can do all this stuff. And then we can work our way to, okay, if this does fall down, what are you going to do? You're going to stand there and be a good boy. So I kind of would like to work up to it.
I like where your head's at, because you're wanting to get to the goal, right? Here's the issue. The way he moves, no matter what you set up, he's going to knock it over and spook him anyway. Yeah. So it's about desensitizing him first.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So get the worst out of the way first, and then do the rest of it.
Yeah. Then and that's that way. If you go through first, he knocks him over and it spooks. You just keep doing that until he doesn't spook anymore. Open him up again, and you pull him through it almost all the way, and then go ahead and back him up. And then you start the backing process where you walk him up to him and then back. So you make that transition forward first, then back up, and then bring him closer and closer to where he knocks him over as he backs through them, so that you're completely desensitizing him both forward and back. So we're kind of going backwards with him a little bit, but that's okay. That's all right.
We got one step forward and now we're 2 steps back. So let's get back to the middle.
Yeah.
Let's get back to 0 at least.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're in a good neutral spot.
No, we'll get there, but I think that your idea of holding those shafts up was a very good one, a great idea. But I think that he's still, because of that, he's doing the desensitization issue, or using that as an excuse, because you can tell right now he is not spooked. He's using this as an excuse to try to get out of work or just to be able to quit. And for me, as a trainer, that just buys them more work, because it's about pressure and release. You keep pressuring, and you want more pressure, and you want pressure to go away. Well, then you comply, and it will go away. but the more you fight, the more pressure you're going to get. And you're going to continue to receive. So,
yeah, it's just that like when I try to get him back up to here and then he's like running through me, you know, I can't,
right.
I can do my best to stop him, but he's just going to run me over no matter what. So I'm just like trying to rack my brain as many ways as I can to just get him to do what I want and put the pressure in the right place. But I mean, he's bigger and stronger than I am. So it's just kind of like, how do I make myself bigger and stronger than him?
Well, and he's bigger and stronger than me. So,
Yeah.
you know, we have the same issue there. I may be a little bigger and stronger than you. So it's a little bit more of a struggle for him or less for me. But there's some other tricks we can do. And usually he won't try to run over the top of you. Most horses won't. They'll try to run past you. And so I use my body to get right in front of them. And I will, you know, I'll do whatever it takes. And if I have to spook them a little bit to back off from me, that's okay. They need to know that they can't go through you.
Yeah, on Friday I was kind of like just jumping back and forth side to side, trying to get him to just stop in front of me. But it was just like, I couldn't even get him. I did get him walking over the poles. So we at least did that and he could hear the banging. Yeah, so he's still afraid of the banging sound that they make, the metal. So maybe we need to like just work on that for a while.
Yep, that's one thing. And again, that's a desensitization issue. And you've got him pulled up there again. He's quiet. He's nice. What would happen if you? Well, let's start working him. Whichever way you want to do. We can start again and try this, and then go back to the barrels or your containers. Whatever you want to do right now, let's try that. I wouldn't mind seeing you try to back him up between these shafts right now.
I would like to do that too, just nice and slow and just break it down step by step. Just get one backward step out of him, give him some praise, back him up again, and see how far we can go with it. So yeah, I find that like if I start getting worked up and getting all antsy and like, you know, throwing the lead rope at him and stuff, then he's checked out. He's gone. Right. So I'd like to keep it more on the tame side because he really likes praise. He really likes being touched. He likes verbal praise. He likes being told he's a good boy, but he doesn't act like he's a good boy.
That's because he's got that spoiled colt. I want to be touched and loved, but I don't want to have to work for it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's try. Back. Good boy. Back. Oh, good boy. So if I'm going to bring him up to it, do you recommend just doing a little circle right here? Or should we kind of circle around the whole thing? And like I was going to walk him up to it.
No, what I would do is the shaft that's more forward to you, furthest away. Okay, the one to your right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the furthest one. I would walk him up to that and then turn him around right there, like he's got to spin on right on that spot, and then back him up. Because that what you're doing is you're containing him more and allowing him to move less. The more you move around a spot or away from it, the more he's like, I get to avoid this. Yeah, he's just going to start
dancing like, I can just do this all day. Yeah.
Yes. And this is about focusing his mind, whether he wants to focus or not. So I would walk right straight up to it and just flip him around, just turn him around right there in that spot.
Okay.
And this is going to be a major thing because he doesn't want to have to do this at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like you're doing, just like that. Now turn that hind end. Okay. Yes. And back him up.
This is the part that we get to where he knows where the shafts are and he's just going to avoid them at all costs.
Yes. Okay. So what I would do is I would control his hind end by pushing his front end around. So it's just like back in a trailer. If you want his hind end to go to your right now, you need to take his head to the left and push him backwards.
Okay.
Push him hard. There you go. Harder. Okay. Go all the way to the left. See, all you're doing is just avoiding it now. So turn his body, make his body flex so that he has to turn that hind end.
He doesn't turn it. That's the thing. He just sidesteps.
Yeah. So you need to get in his in the center of his body, right there, and now push there like that.
Good.
Yep. There you go. Now step over to his left side. I'm sorry, go to your left, and now push that hind end around, make him come forward. Like, there you go. Better.
Good boy.
Now, he moved away a little bit. That's okay. You stopped it.
And this is exactly what was going on Friday.
Okay.
He will just do this.
So see how he's backing up more?
Yeah.
Don't let him back up. And the way to do that is to get on his side. Get to the side of him. As soon as he goes past that shaft, go back to his side, the middle of his side, and push that hind end around. You're going to make him kind of go forward a little bit, but he's going to try to run through you. And that's when you're going to have to do a lot of movement back and forth between his side to in front of him.
Okay.
And it's not going to be easy. You're going to be a little out of breath. There you go, right there. Now back. There you go. Good job. Just like that. Okay, now yes. Good. You're doing great. Now stop.
Say.
Good. Okay. So praise him for that.
Good boy.
And I hate breaking it down even more than this because he knows better. This is almost like giving him a little bit of relief, but he's going to fight us. We got this fine line between him fighting us and him complying at a little slower pace. And it's completely a judgment call, and it's way easier for me to judge it sitting here 400 miles away than you feeling him. But I look at his demeanor and he's like, yeah, okay, go ahead, make me. I'm just going to keep avoiding this. So
he's just going to keep fighting me the whole time. But you just was like, okay, I'll back up, but I'm going that way.
Right. But by you making it less of a fight, and the fight is you're fighting over distance, you're fighting over ground, you're fighting over territory. So the more you limit his territory where he can't move, the more you've controlled him, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Like you are going exactly where I'm telling you to go.
Yes. So now just step to his or your left a little bit and just push his hind end over one step, like that.
Ooh, good
There you go. Now push his front end back over, line him back up, and back him up. Now, okay, there you go. Yes. He's winning on the turn. There you go. Yeah, got to get back in front of him, and you're going to have to be really speedy and quick about this and fleet of foot. It's because he's not trying to necessarily run over the top of you. He's just trying to run past you. Like there, pop him on the shoulder with your hand if you have to. And I know that's having limited luck with that, but it's with some of the tools you've got. And now you're more containing him, I think. There you go. Good.
Good boy.
Look at how he's almost bracing that front end.
Yeah. He's ready to take off.
Yep. So go ahead and ask him. There you go. Just a step. There you go. Better.
Back.
At least in line. No.
See, that's the thing. He'll get right up to the shaft and then he's off.
Yeah. So bring him back around. There you go. Yep. That you're doing the right thing. It's just a matter you got to outlast him.
Yep. Boy. Back up.
Good.
Oh, back. Good boy.
Oh, yeah. See, he's getting frustrated, so he's going to try to run.
Yeah.
Good job. You're doing exactly the right thing.
Step. Good boy. Good.
There. Getting better.
Good. Big sigh.
Yeah, that's better.
Good.
He's still gonna try you, but see, are you containing better than you were before?
Yes. Before I couldn't even get him to stand right here. He would just be like waving his back end all around. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And it's all about who owns more real estate. You know, you win the war by occupying the ground. And if you can't let them advance, you're winning, and you're making him stay where he's at. So getting him stopped is an issue. And I know that, and that getting in front of him and really being hard on him because he's being a jerk. He's absolutely being a jerk about this. So let's see if we can just ease him back there again. He's got to turn slightly a little bit with that hind end and step one step over. And if he steps over that shaft going into it, that's fine. We don't care. We want him. If he kicks the shaft, that's okay. He needs to know where it's at, and he does know where it's at. Turn his head, pull his head towards you. There you go. Now get back in front. Now back. There. Now just keep backing him up. See if we can get a little bit more on him. Back.
And you missed it.
Yep. Nope. You didn't push him. You did not direct him. You just pushed him straight back, hoping. You got to not hope he's going to go in there. You got to make him go in there. So turn that head to your left as he walks up there. You got to make sure you just do it with purpose.
Yep.
And he just doesn't think he needs to do any of this. So, one thing I do is I would pull his front end to see how he's gaining ground on you.
Yeah.
Okay. Instead of pulling him forward to kind of line him up like you would, like when you're pulling a trailer, you're going to pull that thing up a ways so you can get lined up and back him up. You don't need to do that with a horse. Pull his front end right in there and make that hind end swing around without coming forward because he can swing that hind end around. You can't do that with a trailer. You can't pick it up and lift it over and set it down. You can with him, and you can make him do it himself.
Okay. Well, we're going to walk towards it then.
So come right in front of it. Right there. There you go.
Step. Good boy.
Now turn him. There you go.
Good.
There you go. Keep going. Keep turning that hind end around. Turn that hind end by turning that front to his left. There you go. There. Okay, bring his friend. There you go, right to the front. Good. You're doing fine. Now turn his head to the left. Turn that hind end around. Make him step over that shaft. Like that. Oh, he's being such a jackass.
Yeah.
So bring him forward. Bring him in front of it.
Yep.
Try not to give up any space. Yeah, look at that. He's just resisting even coming forward.
Good boy.
A little more. There you go. Very good. That's good. You did he moved just a little bit. You're making him pressure over, and that's the right thing. He's not responding as well, but he's not. He is stopping for you when you get into move. Turn that nose. There you go. Now back him up.
Back up. Back up.
Yeah, see how he's bracing that face, and he's trying to turn his head to the left so that you can't turn his body. So bring him back up. There you go. Yeah, you're doing exactly right. And again, I know this is frustrating. It is so frustrating.
Step. Good boy.
There you go. Turn. Good. Very good. Very good.
Boy, back.
Keep going.
Back.
All right. You stepped over it. That's okay. Bring him up. Good. You're doing exactly the right thing. So instead of pulling steady on him, give him that little bump to get him to come forward, because he'll just resist you. There you go.
Jerk.
And he's smart enough to know that he's going to get hooked up to this, and he's just trying to avoid work. That's all he's trying to do. There we go.
Back. Yeah, you see, I'm going to his offside, and he's turning his head to the other side, so I can't turn his hindquarters with him.
Yep. So pull that head around. Make him just bump that head, because he's bracing. See that? See how he's bracing to the. There you go. He's trying to keep you from moving his body.
Good boy.
There you go. Pop that hind end. If you need to pop that hind end over. And if you have to bring him over in the middle or just outside of there and just pop his hind end, make him turn on his fours completely in circles for 3 or 4 circles. If he wants to go back to basics and have to work hard, let's make him work hard.
Okay, let's try this one more time, and then we'll do that. I agree with that. Yep. Good boy. Yeah, he's just going to walk off from it.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so right where you're at, yeah, there you go. Pull him with purpose just a little ways. Now, just make him pivot on those fronts, and there you go. Keep moving that hind end around, and like that. Yeah. Now look at him turn his head towards you. Look at him flex that body, and he's pivoting. So do that 3 or 4 times. Better. Good. Keep going. Good. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and try it again.
Yep. Boy. Ooh.
Oh, look at him shake that head. He is not happy.
Well, neither am I. So.
Yeah, he's frustrating me, and I'm a long ways away. Good job to get in front of him. Good, very good. He's given up less and less ground. He's still trying, but he's giving it up. Pop, there you go. Pop him around in a circle right there. Oh, that dirty bugger. Okay, don't let him go in a large circle like you're lunge lining him, because he's avoiding at that point. Make him turn on his thrusts. Yeah.
Okay.
Make him stand in one spot. That way you're in control, because he's trying to take the control away. There you like that. There, that's better. That's better. Much better. Can you come from the see how you're just turning him that way where you're on his right? Can you bring him over to those shafts on the other side and try to load him from that side?
That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
Oh yeah, let all that stress out. Let's go. Good boy. Ooh. Come on. Yeah, he wants nothing to do with these guys.
What I would maybe do is go back to our poles and just lay them up on the fence, and then move him into that and see if that makes a difference on where that stone boat is. So that, you've got your shafts angled down to the ground right now like that.
Yeah.
Do the same thing with your poles. Take those poles and put them up on there and see if we can change this a little bit, because he is a first-class jerk. And these horses are difficult to train. They're difficult to get to do things without a lot of fighting. And then once they roll for you, then they're generally much, much better, much easier to work with, because they've tried every trick in the book that they can, and you have had to overcome that. So there you go.
You mean Tennessee walking horses in general?
No, horses in
Or
general.
just horses? Yeah.
No, that's they don't know what breed they are. So when
Okay.
people will tell you, now different breeds have some very general traits based on their breeding, but they don't know that they're any different. Every horse thinks that they're the same. You take a very small miniature, they will act. They've got the same verbal cues. They've got the same actions. They've got everything the same as a draft horse. So,
Oh yeah, I've seen it with the ponies. You guys are just little horses, aren't you?
they don't know that they're anything different. If you weren't told that you were from some nationality, would you know any different?
No.
Of course not. And they certainly don't. So I've heard people say that, say some ridiculous things like, well, when they whinny, can other horses understand them? It's like, well, are you kidding me? Think about what you're saying. So they everything is the same. Now, some of those characteristics may be different. Like a great big old draft horse is generally a gentle giant compared to, say, like an Egyptian Arabian. Okay, so let's back him up and go. Let's have him step over those poles. Just walk over the top of them next to the fence. And he may avoid this. You may have to get on his other side to get him to come through.
Let's go.
Okay, now get kind of behind his shoulder and drive him through there. Make him push it. There you go. There you go. Push him over. Get to his side, more to his shoulder, and stretch your arm out there and drive him. We just want him to step a little bit. We don't want to. He didn't have to go all the way over. So you're never going to drag him, Ashley. You're going to get behind.
As soon as I get over here, then my arm is out of reach. I can't pull him.
Right. I get that, but if you can swap hands, put your right hand on his halter, face him. Now face his hind end, and then with your right hand, you've got him pushed away from you. So slide your right hand down your halter lead towards his halter as much as you can. Okay.
And on the bottom or on the cheek?
Yep, on either one. Cheek is fine because that'll hold him, that'll push him. You only got a limited distance, but now with your left hand, drive him with that halter lead on his hind end, and you may fail here the first few times, but we're going to get him to at least step over the very end of this rail or the pole. There you go. There. Yeah, that's all right. He can now come right back around. And we'll just keep working this because he'll step over poles, right?
Yeah. He'll step over the shafts too.
Yeah. But we're just going to try to break him down a little bit and make him do what you want to do. But see, there you go. Good. There. Now let him smell it. Let him look at it. Let him smell it. He's thinking about it. Okay. There you go. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Push him in that hind end. Yeah, what you're trying to do is just drive him to the side, and it is hard. I mean, your arms are only 2.5 foot long from your shoulder to your hand if you're lucky. There we go. Let him look. Yep, that's okay. Let him look. Good. You're putting him in his place. Back him up a little bit, and kind of make him parallel to the rail. And now take a little bit more of a bite. There you go. Now come forward, just a little bit. Trying to get him to step over a little bit more of that post or a pole if he'll do it. Yep, let him smell. That's okay. Looks good. He's got limited. God, I just want to. If you ever want to beat a horse, now's the.
Oh my God. I know you. I know you know.
Oh yeah, I know. Yes, the first there. That's better. He kicked it. At least he's walking into it. So
You camel.
this is again. This is nothing more than a spoiled attitude. He resists everything, and this is why you can't spoil colts, because this is how it comes back to bite somebody else when they're trying to work with them. So let's go ahead and pull the poles out and lay them flat, and let's see what he does. And I think we know the answer to this, right?
He's gonna go right over him.
Yes.
And I've tried it with the poles on the ground too, getting him to back up straight to it, and he wants nothing to do with that either. He's still like, going all the way around him and tripping over him.
Yep.
All you have to do is walk over it.
Exactly. Yeah, and he's just being resistant. There you go. Let's do that back and forth. Now turning the ad. There you go. As soon as he's cleared of him, then you turn him right back around, because you're wanting to maintain as little real estate for him to take. There, yes. Just exactly like you would do in a set of shafts. Okay? And you're turning him counterclockwise. That's good. That's okay. We'll turn him the other direction here in a minute, and we'll do the same thing. You do that half a dozen times. And then what we're going to do is, after we've got this both directions and a good transition, you did a little figure 8 there, and he didn't even know it. What we'll do now, we get this part, and he's good. And now try to get closer to the rail. And I know he's not going to want to step in the water there. I can see but that's okay. There, good job.
Good boy.
Yeah. Nice. Very good. Okay. Keep it up. Let's do that a couple more, 2 or 3 more times. And this is ridiculous that you have to break this down more and more like that. But it's what you're doing is you are breaking it down to the point where he almost has to comply, because he's like, yeah, okay, this is easy. I'll do this. Now, what we'll do is, the next time we feel pretty confident, we think we can get him over, lift those up to the bottom rail.
Okay.
Stick him in the bottom rail now, and then start clear to get him to walk, clear down there at the very end where it's still mostly on the ground. And just have him stepping over the edge of that, and then we'll work him towards the rail. This is all just gradual and progressing a little bit as we can. There you go. There you go. And don't bite off too much more than you have to if you can't. There. Yes, that's okay. All right. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of pole work, and I've had him walking over them.
Right. No, it's all about context, right?
Yeah. Like, in this moment, I want you walking over this.
Right. Well, and he knows where that context is. He knows you're not going to hook him up to these poles, but we need him to make sure that he's going to comply with you, and he's very compliant right now. He's turning with you. He's not fighting you. I almost wish there was a little bit more fight to him, so that you could correct that. And I suspect the next time we do this, that's fine. Good. A couple more times, and then we'll raise those up. Look at that. Nice. Very good. And then we'll raise them up after when you feel ready. Put them up on that next rail like you were. Now you can't do that. We can't. And that was not anything you caused.
Oh, he just tripped over him.
Yeah, he exactly tripped and then wanted to get away from him, which tells you he's not paying attention to where his feet are, because he's completely calm and
Hey, just following me around. Like, okay, I'll go with you.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. All right. Yeah, there you go. And then again, start way out at the end and just have him step over, a couple of feet in from the very end, where he's been lifting him that high anyway. Yeah, about where you stepped over him. I mean, that's an easy one.
Good boy.
There you go. And then we're gonna do this a few times, the same thing, half a dozen times each way, work him up closer to the rail, and then it's going to be a point where it's going to be unreasonable for him, but we don't want to push him that far. because right now we're about at the height where the shafts are, right? Or where they're on the rail. Yeah. So there's no reason to have him, cross over that far on the shafts. But what we're going to do is have him cross, and once his hind end is in there on the very end, after we've done this a few more times, both directions, then you'll stop him and then just try to back him up into this.
No, do not chew on the pole.
Yeah, he's wasting time now. He's just
come on.
avoiding. There you go. He's completely aware of where he's at, what he's doing, and what he needs to do, because he's stepping with much greater purpose. Okay. Good. Now take him to the end whenever you're ready, and you get yourself set. And then take him to the end of those, just like you would on the shafts, and then have him turn and then back into them. There you go. Cross over the front and turn. And then, there you go. There. And then back.
Back. Back up. Back up. Cannot believe this horse. And we're back to square one.
All right. Now turn him.
Ooh.
Right there. Very good. All right, you had a really good. That was good. You got to start. I know it doesn't seem like it, but it does, because he stopped, he hesitated, and then he walked through. That is a start. And stop. Good job. Yes.
Good.
Yes. Okay. Now back him up a step if you can.
Back. Good boy.
Okay. Get your hand up there on his halter and don't let that go, because you've just given him a mile of place to go. If he wanted to walk off, you couldn't have stopped him. So don't let him go. You have to be really just a super, super Nazi-like about not letting him move. So let's ask him to back up again. Take a step back.
Back.
Good.
Back.
Yeah, there you go. Grab that halter.
Back.
There you go. Back.
Back. Back up.
Just tap him on the nose with your right hand. So you got him with your left in the halter. Just tap him on that nose and make him back up. We'll give you another tool here. I don't like using it, but it's not like you're smacking him on the face or going to make him head shy. It's just stopping him from going forward.
I mean, I'm worried it's going to end up like that, because he knows he's just going to push through everything.
Well, and if he does, then go ahead and smack him and pop him harder than it, because he's not going to like that. That feeling on that nasal sinus is, they don't like that. There you go. Pull him through.
Step. Good boy.
There you go.
Back up.
Good job.
Good.
Very good job.
Back.
Keep going.
Good.
Another one. Another one. And stop.
Ooh. Good.
Good job, Ashley.
Good boy.
Good. Very good. Now you should have a sense of accomplishment here.
Yeah. Good boy.
Now, okay, is he pooping?
I don't know. No.
Okay, so he's not relaxing.
No, he's got his ears all tensed back. He's not.
Yeah. Okay.
He's just staring me dead in the eye.
Slightly annoyed. Lead him chewing though.
Yeah.
And blinking, big blinks, big chew. Now, what I would do if I were standing where you're at, I would bring him forward to where his front feet are at the end of the shafts, and then back him up again. Just keep coming back and forth right where you're at. And it's only going to give him 2 or 3 steps, but that's fine. And there.
Back.
And immediately back him up. Very good. Good job.
No.
Pop him on the nose. Pop him. I know you got both hands full. You need a third hand.
Back. Back.
There you go.
Back. 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 Back.
Go on top of the nose, about where the nose band comes across.
Good.
There you go. There you go. That's what you're doing is you're reverberating a little bit of vibration through that big nasal sinus, and they don't like that.
Yeah.
It's like hitting a drum. Very good. You stopped him. That's the important part. So go ahead and see if you can back him up a couple more steps.
Back.
You got plenty of time to rest.
Good.
There you go.
Back.
Very good.
Good boy.
Very good. Good job.
Good boy.
Good job. All right. So we're making some headway. And I think continuing to do this, back him up, and then putting those poles, when you get that completely comfortable back and forth like this, a half a dozen times, and we may have to be very repetitive about this. Then when he gets very comfortable with that, then you can pull him out, bring him in, and back him up, just like you normally would. And then I would bring those shafts or their poles closer together.
Right.
Like, okay, so that then you can repeat the whole thing again. But once you've made headway, pulling him out and walk around and then bring him to it and back him up, don't think that you have to stop right there and only bring him up and back him in. If you have to bring him in, back him in, and then back him back and forth again, when they're closer, that's okay. Do that. That's not a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, but that's our goal. Our final goal is to be able to walk up to these when they're narrow and back him in there and make him stand, just as if over the shabs. And if we do this enough, and you got him stopped, that's a great job. Then you're winning, and you're winning right now. You made actually a very large leap forward there all at once. And but you notice how far we had to break this stupid thing down for him, and it's not because he's fearful; it's because he's willful and he's being just an absolute jerk. And this is, again, I keep saying this, and people got to understand when you baby a horse or spoil a horse or let them get away with what they want to, and it isn't just you; it's any individual. It only takes one person to do that, and if he's handled like that, and they don't understand, it's not their fault. But there's a wage of sin to pay for that, and you're the one that's paying for it without.
Yep.
And that's welcome to the life of a trainer. you got to make her or make him nice and shiny by picking up the dirty end of the turd. I mean, to be very crude, that's what we're doing here. So we're shining
polish
him
a
up.
turd.
Yes, we're polishing a turd, and pretty soon you're going to get him, and he'll be polished. The more we work with him, and he'll be fine, and you're going to look back and go, "Oh my God! Oh yeah, I forgot we had to fight him like this because he's going to be so."
I know.
Good.
And I remember the beginning of January, the first time we got back after Christmas, and I was like in tears just because I couldn't get him to turn around. And now we're in the round 10, and he's listening. He stops when I just stand here and say, "Whoa!"
Right.
Like,
yeah. Yep.
I know how far we've come. It's just frustrating in the meantime. It's just like, just do it.
Well, and he's smart. He's going to do whatever he can to do the least amount of work. What he hasn't been able to, and I don't think they can necessarily reason this, is that, you know what? If I just comply, I get to quit
And it's
early.
less work. Yeah.
You know, and that's what it's all about. Finally, they'll do that. I'm working a mare right now, filly actually, that is very willful, and it's interesting to work her because she will try you, and then all of a sudden she figures it out. She goes, "Okay, fine. What do you want?" You know, and I mean, but you got to get past that, and don't think I haven't been frustrated with her because I am. That's just the way it is. It's and you do the best you can. You break things down. You make those small, tiny little wins, just like you're doing. And again, it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to have that. I get mad at them. You know, and I was pissed on Friday. I threw him back in the pasture. I went inside and took a nap. I just could not process anything else that was going on. I was like, I need to go lay down. Like you were emotionally I need to shut my brain off.
Yeah.
Yeah. You emotionally wore out and had to check out for a while.
Yeah.
Yep. And all you got to do is outlast him because he's emotionally wore out too. He just processes it in a different way. And you made the win. That's important. And you gotta quit there. I've been hours trying to get them to do a single thing. A couple of hours longer than what I was planning on doing beyond what the training session was. So you've done a really good job. I don't worry about progressing it too fast. We'll get there. I mean, this is part of it, but you can't progress without covering this little hole. We've got a hole in him, and it's his mind doing this. So we can't have him fighting us on every single thing all the time, and this is how you win that. So you're doing great. I know it's frustrating. Heck, I'm frustrated sitting here, but we'll get there. We'll get it. We'll make it happen, and in spite of him,
we will get there. Just
we'll get
little
there.
Victories.
Yes. So I think you've got a plan. I think.
Yeah.
And I know I've got a plan for you, but I want to just make really clear what we need to do. And I think you've got that clarity. You see what we need to do, and if you can get that done this week, I mean, that's a big deal.
Okay.
And if you get past that and you feel like this is old hat, then go to the shavs and try him in there. Try and put him inside of there. That's your ultimate goal. And there's no reason he can't do that. I mean, good God.
Yeah.
It's
not going to eat him. It's not going to eat you. You're fine. I will eat you before that thing does.
I may help you. I may start the barbecue. Yeah.
Brandon and I will eat you before the stone boat does.
Oh, shoot. All right. Well, you've done a good job. I know it's frustrating. We're getting there, and we keep throwing that word around a lot, but it's the best word for what there is. And don't let him have an inch, and don't be afraid to. He knows what he's doing. Don't be afraid to discipline him and popping him on the nose like that. I don't like doing that, but you're getting to where you're starting to run out of tools, and you've got
and it's like if he doesn't comply, then if he doesn't want to get smacked on the nose, then just do what I'm asking you to do. It's not that hard.
Right. No, you're exactly right. Exactly right. Okay.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ashley.
And we've got some homework set out for us.
Yeah, and you'll get there. It'll happen. Just for God's sakes, don't think what would Brandon do, because Brandon wings it a lot of times too. Because you have to just try different things. That's there's no set recipe for training a horse. You have to read your horse and see what works. So yeah, I mean, and as always, I didn't give you a whole lot of advice the last time. I gave you encouragement when you texted me on Friday because you were doing the right things. So you may get that, or I may give you something to try too. So we'll see.
It was more just like a camaraderie. Like, I shoved my head into the refrigerator, not my fists. So do that instead.
Yes. Yeah. My head can take a beating, but these hands are valuable. I have to be able to have light raining and all kinds of things with these. So
I'll just go shove my head into the pillow and take a nap. How about that?
There you go. That nap sounds like a good deal too. All right.
Okay.
Good job, Ashley. We'll talk to you later.
Yep. I'll update you this week. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.